music. This is one of the countless cultural phenomena that anthropologists study. And in particular, what you have heard is an expression of the retention of West African culture in New World Black societies. By the end of that class, I said goodbye pediatrics. And so quickly let me just say that, and this is why professors are so powerful. I studied with Yinger and Simpson, everything they taught. I was their independent study student. And I didn't know for nothing when Professor Simpson said, you're going to Northwestern to study with the great Melvin J. Herstovitz. I said, yes, sir. And it was at Northwestern, and I'm almost done, that I did my field work doing what is now called native anthropology. I studied a black church on the south side of Chicago, looking at the retention of African cultural patterns in that black south side church. I agree. You know, the moment we begin to exoticize others, we lose our own beauty. We need to study ourselves and figure out how to get rid of something.
Dr. Cole,
yes,
I listened very carefully talking about we should make sure that all students at Oberlin graduate. But how do you reach a student who academics just is not on their mind? And you try creative ways of talking to them, you try creative ways of learning, but the academics just is not on their mind.
You try again, and again, and again, and every creative, out-of-the-box technique that you can imagine. And maybe it wouldn't be a bad idea just to say, why? Tell me why. Why is it that this just does not turn you on? Together, you got to figure that out.
I don't know that I have a question to you, Doctor, but I have a comment, and it relates to a graduate of the theology here who played an important role in the desegregation of the lunch counters in Nashville, Tennessee. He is now a colleague of mine. I retired. This is a man named James Lawson. I don't know whether you know of him or not. He certainly has done Oberlin.
Indeed. You know, when we think about the civil rights struggle, it's so easy for us to talk about the men and women and to always lift up that it was a time in our history and her story when black folk and white folk and Jews and Gentiles and straight folk and gay folk came together around common cause. But if we ever forget the role of students, then we really ought to be ashamed of ourselves. During my years at Bennett, I became very aware, but close up, of the role of those four courageous young black men who left North Carolina A&T one day, walked downtown on February 1st, 1960, and sat down at the Woolworth's lunch counter. But I tell you, it was only in going to Bennett that I understood that it wasn't just those four men. 250 Bennett women went to jail as well as his story. And so anyone who would dare to suggest we wouldn't try it at Oberlin College, that young folk are not engines of change, and you don't know young folk. And tonight, and I know we need to bring closure, one of the special moments that I've had in being back at Oberlin was just a few minutes with one of the youngins of First Sister Amy and Brother President Marvin. It was just a few minutes with Zach. He is 15 years old. I mean, I looked at him, he said he's 15, I thought, was I like that when I moved off to 15? And I don't think I even approached his extraordinary passion and drive. He can hardly do his homework because he's got to get down to the Obama campaign. There's so much that's wrong in our communities, our nation, and our world. But when you are just nearby a Zach, then you know ultimately it's got to be all right. Thank you very much.